Hello and welcome. This video we're going to take a look at the Miranda Class, probably one of the most reused models in Star Trek and Star Trek Online. We'll be looking at the Vanity Shield available from the Dilithium store during certain events of the year and from the Zen store. As always, there's chapters in the description down below along with several links that I'll go over at the end of the video. So for this one, I am using the Miranda Beta, Saucer and Struts, the Miranda Pylons and the Miranda Beta nacelles. So that will give us the glow to the nacelles, but not the Bassard collectors effect on this ship. So it's been a while since I've done one of these, so let's dive straight into it. So first up, we are looking at the Alliance Vanity Shield. So this shield is part of the Khitomer Alliance bundle in the Zen store. Currently the only shield available in the Zen store. And in the bundle you get the shield, the uniform and an upgrade. For the shield itself, we have the white hull material with some grey shading and some gold shading. We see the patterned blue effect there for the deflector. Take a spin round. We've got the grey there and the red stripe on the nacelles, with that cyan shading for the nacelle itself. Then if I hold here, we can see that triangular pattern within the material, and as the light hits it, we get these different hues. At the rear, we've got the grey there on the two bay doors. For the impulse engines, it's the red, orange, yellow to white and back again. Got some of the cyan lighting there on top of the nacelle. Put down, we see some more of that grey shading there. Then the underside, again, touch more of the gold and the grey shading and some more of that cyan lighting there. Moving on to the Dilithium store now. So this is a Safe Galaxy Refit Vanity Shield. So with this two-tone patterned grey hull material, almost like a urban camouflage kind of pattern. We have the gold there on the deflector. Have the goldish colour there on the nacelle. Same there for the impulse engines. And that gold lighting on top of the nacelle there. Look down, we can see that pattern effect on the hull material. And the same here on the underside, and some more of that gold lighting here at the rear. Next up's a very popular shield in the game. This is the Baul Vanity Shield, with the black hull material that makes the red piping pop really nicely. With the patterned dull cyan of the deflector there, and some cyan lighting there on that torpedo launcher. And with the cyan lighting there for the nacelles. Some more there at the rear of those torpedo launchers, and then those lovely red impulse engines. And some white lighting there on top of the nacelle and at the rear there of the main saucer section. Let's look down, we can see that carved pattern within the hull material. The same here on the underside, with a touch more of that white lighting at the rear as well. Next up, it's the Borg Vanity Shield. So this gives your vessel a look of a liberated Borg vessel, not an assimilated one. Now with the grey hull material there, with the pattern made up of various shapes and sizes of hull plating. We have the blue pattern effect there for the deflector. Then we see the partially lit blue there for the nacelle. Same here for the impulse engines. Then this top strut here, you can see this blue and orange lighting effect. So that's got a black conduit material underneath it and is designed to give the look of exposed areas of hull plating. Then we've got the blue there on top of the nacelle. The full view there of that pattern effect to the hull material. Blue light there at the rear. And then on the underside, some more of that conduit material there. Hint of blue there on the lower dome. And again the blue light there at the rear. Next up we are looking at the Courier Radar Vanity Shield. So this is one of the older shields in the game and not to be confused with the new Green Radar Vanity Shield. So we've got this almost bare metal kind of colouring to the hull material with some touches of black shading. The white deflector array there. See the black here at the front of the nacelles. And that very bright white there for the nacelle itself. Same there for the impulse engines. And the white light effect on top of the nacelle. And at the rear there, as you can see, it does reflect the light very brightly off of it. And we see the pattern effect there on the hull material. And the same here on the underside with more of that white lighting effect there as well. Here we have the Discovery Vanity Shield. So this is one of the shields in the game that has a different visual appearance depending on your faction alignment. So for Federation aligned characters, we've got this two-tone grey patterned hull material, designed to give your vessel a look of Starfleet vessels in Season 1 of Discovery. This white with a blue spoke pattern for the deflector. See the different shades of grey there at the end of the nacelle. Then we have the blue there for the nacelle colouring itself. A lot of blue running lights there. Then we have the red honeycomb pattern there for the impulse engines. That's white and blue pattern effect lighting there on top of the nacelle. Same here at the rear of the main hull. Then we can see the different shades of grey there in the hull pattern. And the same here on the underside. Again, more of that white and blue patterned lighting effect here at the rear. Here's the Discovery Vanity Shield on a Klingon aligned character. So it's supposed to give your vessel the appearance of what they tried to pass off as Klingon ships in Star Trek Discovery. So with this brown patterned hull material. And with this yellow and white patterned deflector array and some green shading here on the launcher. Then we have this orange, yellow and white pattern effect here for the nacelle. The yellow and white pattern there on the impulse engines. Again, that green shading there on the launcher. I've got some red and white illumination here on top of the nacelle, and same there on the rear dome. Then you see that full pattern effect to the hull material with a shield. And we're just more of the same here on the underside. Here we have the Discovery Refit Vanity Shield. So we've got darker shades of grey on this one. We also have this pattern to the hull material as well. Then on this particular model, the deflector is practically greyed out. You can just make out a hint of that blue and white there at the bottom of the deflector. Got the blue and white there for the nacelles, and the lighter blue running lights there. Then we've got the red striped pattern effect for the impulse engines. And with the white lighting effect there on top of the nacelles. Same here at the rear of the main hull. Then we see the different shades of grey and that pattern effect throughout the hull material. Then the same here on the underside, and some more of that white lighting at the rear. Here we have the Emerald Chain Vanity Shield. So with this brown patterned hull material. And with this very almost dirty white and grey pattern effect there on the deflector, and same there for the torpedo launchers. Same here for the nacelle colouring, and also the impulse engines there, and at the rear launchers as well. That, I said, almost a dirty white and grey pattern effect there on top of the nacelle, and same here at the rear of the main hull. And we see the pattern effect in the different shades there of the hull material. And the same here on the underside. Here we have the Emperor's Vanity Shield. Look at this grey hull material, and you might be able to make out this faint blue illuminated dot pattern that goes throughout the full material. We have this orange patterned deflector, and the orange there for the launchers as well. The very vibrant yellow for the nacelle. Again, some more of that blue dot illumination there. And we've got some of the purple and cyan running lights there. And there's some more of that blue dot illumination. Then we have the cyan there for the impulse engines, the orange again there for the launchers, and some more of that blue dot illumination, a bit more visible in the shade of the ship there. Then we have the orange on top of the nacelle, again more of that blue dot illumination, orange at the rear of the main hull there. And we see a couple of different shades of grey for the hull material. I have a pause there You can see that blue dot illumination, almost like a star field kind of pattern to it on the shaded underside. And then we've got more of that orange lighting there at the rear. And here we have the Ferengi Vanity Shield. So we have the orange hull material that we see on the Ferengi vessels in the TV show, with some touches of gold and grey. You see the deflector there, and the torpedo launcher has got a grey surround with a yellow illumination on it. You can see on the saucer here a lot of these rivet details and the pattern effect of the hull material also. And we see some more of that grey shading there on the nacelle, the bright yellow for the nacelles, the darker yellow there for the impulse engines. Also have the grey there on the shuttle doors. Some more yellow illumination top of the nacelle, and again there at the back of the main hull, again with that grey surround. And as we look down, we see quite a bit of that rivet pattern in the hull material. And more of the same here on the underside. Here we have the Hur'q Vanity Shield. Now it has green hull material with this black shading creating this pattern effect around the rim there of the saucer. This deep brownish purple shading effect there as well. Then for the deflector, it's a green pattern effect there. Same here on the torpedo launcher. Again, we've got more of that purplish brown shading, then more of that black shading pattern effect there on the nacelle. Then we have the green there for the nacelle itself, and then we have this illuminated green pattern effect within the material also. See that more there around the edge of the saucer. Then we have the green pattern effect there for the impulse engines. More of that illuminated green material there up over the struts, the pylons. Some more green illumination there on top of the nacelle. Same here at the rear of the ship. And more of the same here on the underside, so yeah, more of that shading pattern effect, more of that purplish brown shading, and more of that illuminated material there also. This is the Kelvin Divergence Vanity Shield. So like the Discovery one, it does have two different visual appearances depending on faction alignment. So for Federation aligned, we get the look of Starfleet vessels in the reboot films with this grey hull material. And then we've got a blue patterned deflector array, very similar to that of the Enterprise in the reboot films. Thankfully we don't have to endure the awful Bizarre Collector effect of this shield on this model. And with the blue and white there for the nacelles. Then we have the orange pattern effect there on the impulse engines. The blue and white illumination there on top of the nacelles. And same here at the rear of the ship. The pattern's very similar to that of the motion picture era ships there. And then the underside, again, it's just that grey hull material and that white and blue illuminated dome there at the rear. Here we have the Kelvin Divergence Vanity Shield on a Klingon Align character. So we've got this green shading for the hull material with the pattern effect in it. I see some different shades of green there as well. I have this lovely red pattern deflector array. Some red and white illumination there on the launcher. This blue and grey honeycomb pattern there for the nacelles. I see some touches of grey there to the shading for the hull material there. And with the red honeycomb there on the impulse engines, and more of that red and white at the rear of the launcher. Then we've got no illumination on top of the nacelle or the rear dome on this shield. And the same here on the underside. This is the Prodigy Vanity Shield. I really can't stand the show, but this shield is starting to become one of my favourite ones. So I've got this lovely grey hull material. I've got a slight pattern effect to it there as well. This very bright orange and yellowish deflector array there. And quite a vibrant blue there for the nacelle colour. And got the red striped effect there for the impulse engines. Blue and white illumination there on top of the nacelle, and same here at the rear of the ship with that dome. Then for the underside, again, it's just that grey pattern material with that white and blue illuminated dome at the rear. Next up is another popular shield in the game. This is the Section 31 Vanity Shield. So as you can see, we've got a few different shades for the hull material. It does have a checkered pattern within that. You see that this deflector array is greyed out in the centre, and it's got some cyan blue around the top there, and again at the bottom. I think it was very vibrant cyan nacelles there. Certainly does light up a screen, that does. Now the red honeycomb pattern there for the impulse engines. You see there's no illumination on top of the nacelle or at the rear here. So this shield tends to black out the Bassard collectors, and it's just carried that effect over to those points of illumination that we've seen on other shields. And as we look down, you can see the pattern within the shaded areas of the hull material, and again the different shades. And those red lines standing out quite nicely against the darker shades of the hull material. And the same here for the underside. Next up is the Shrike Vanity Shield. So I've got this rusty orange hull material, some touches of grey there, got this burgundy shading as well. And I have this yellow and red half target pattern for the deflector array. See some more of the grey shading here at the front of the nacelles, all of that burgundy shading. Now we've got the orange there for the nacelles itself. Yes, orange and red pattern effect there for the impulse engines. Yes, very light orange and red again there for the white on top of the nacelle. And with the orange and white there at the rear of the dome. And we see a bit of a pattern effect in the hull material as well with this shield. And the same here on the underside. Here we have the Tzenkethi Vanity Shield. So, as I always say, this is quite a busy shield, this one. So we've got this green hull material, and we've also got this carved pattern in it as well. Then we have some grey shading, and we have this illuminated panel shading here as well. And as you can see, some of it is pulsating. Especially here at the front of the saucer. And we've also got this pulsating white light here, although it doesn't flash on the hull itself, unfortunately, because that would be quite a interesting effect. Probably get extremely annoying very, very quickly as well, but it would be an interesting effect though. And with the white there for the nacelles, with this green and grey pattern here, and more of that illuminated panels there as well. And again, a lot more of the pulsating lights round the side. I've also got pulsating white lights round the shuttle bays. White there for the impulse engines. With the yellow there on top of the nacelles. And this orange and yellow dome here at the rear. Then on the underside, again, we've got more of that illuminated pattern there, that yellow dome, and that green and grey pattern effect surrounding it. And again, more of that curved detail, and again, the pulsating lights there. And now we come to the final Vanity Shield that's currently available in the Dilithium store, and that is the Zhat Vash Vanity Shield. So we can see this olive green and sandy brown hull shading here. A very vibrant green deflector and torpedo launcher there as well. See some touches of grey there on the end of the nacelles. It's very bright green and white nacelles themselves. And with the red stripe pattern there for the impulse engines, and again more of that green illumination there on the rear launchers. And with some red lighting there on top of the nacelle and the dome at the rear as well. So I always make my usual comment that this colour scheme and pattern always puts me in mind of an army camouflage. Wouldn't be a Vanity Shield video if I didn't say that. And on the underside, more of the different shades there for the hull material, and that red light there at the rear. And that concludes our look at the Miranda Class. So, as always, thank you all very much for watching. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I last did a Vanity Shield video, after rushing through doing the ones from the 15th anniversary. I needed a small break from doing these vids, but I'm now back at it. So onto the description that I mentioned at the start of the video. So the description contains links to my X and Blue Sky social media. It's also got links there to the STO wiki and the main Star Trek Online news blog. Then for content wise, we have links to Casual Sab, Nick NB and MC Stu. Their YouTube and Twitch channels are there. So they cover a variety of content from news videos, reviews, builds, live streams, Q&As. So if you haven't already checked them out, go and drop them a look. Like and subscribe to them as well. Very good bunch of guys, very knowledgeable and extremely helpful. And as always, until the next video or the next live stream, thanks all again for watching.